It's a blustery day. Today we're going to get the tarp on the frame, but first we got to check it out because we had a huge storm last night. So let's see how the frame held up. Well, this is no good.
Hey, watch out. That log will fall on your head.
Okay, here's where we stand. We tried to put the shelter back up, the shelter frame, and it's just not going well. I mentioned in the last video about bracing it up, and there's just not a way that I found that I really like to be able to brace it up. So after a lot of frustration, we took a little break, did some brainstorming. I think we're going to go with a redesign. In a lot of ways it's going to be simpler, and in some ways it's going to be a little more complicated, but we're actually going to be able to use, let's see if I can get them in frame back here. Behind the shelter there's a couple, this big tree, and there's a couple others. So we're going to use those as our vertical posts because that's really where our struggle was in keeping those vertical. So we're going to switch it up a little bit, kind of frustrating, but with a lot of the materials already cut, I think it'll be a fairly quick turnaround. I just needed to take a break for a few minutes, so I sat down, got a fire going, I'm going to cook up a little food, and then we'll see how much progress I make on the adjustment. But that is what you missed. We didn't film it all. Like I said, it was extremely frustrating and trying to get things tightened up and in place and locked in really good. So we're gonna chill out for a few minutes, cook up some food, and then we'll go from there. All right, today's menu, chunky soup. All right, got some food in me, got some water in me, feel a whole lot better about life. Time to get back to work. Next step, we're gonna take this shelter frame down. All right, here's what we've got. These three on the left are 7-footers. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-footers, they're in the middle. Then a couple 4-footers on the far right. So let's get some measurements and see what we need. All right, so I apologize for the wind, but here's what I'm thinking. We've got 1 tree, 2 tree, and then this big one here. So I'm thinking ridge beam, 1-angled shelter bed, ridge beam, 1-angle shelter bed, possibly another tarp on top for a little bit more coverage, and then our campfire's right out here in the middle. It's what we're going with next. Okay, I haven't tied anything off yet, but just sitting there looking at it, I think that looks pretty good. All right, it's all just kind of held together with a hope and a dream right now. But this is the basic concept. Lean-to 1, lean-to number 2, campfire out front. I have nothing tied off, it's all just sitting there. I did salvage most of the cordage and wire, so we've got some to use. This is by far the longest I've spent on either side in one day. Probably a good 4 hours. So quick recap, we got here, the shelter was destroyed. We tried to put it back together, decided that design was just not going to be workable. We just could not get it stabilized in a way that I felt comfortable. So we did some brainstorming and decided to switch up the style a little bit and the location. And then I have been fighting the wind and gathering more materials. But let me show you what we wound up with. All right, so this would be the back corner of the shelter site. So there's our little bench right there, trail down to the creek. And so we were going to put the shelter about right here, but it just wasn't working. So what we did was we went off one of the corners and found this little grouping of 3 trees. So after that, I gathered some more materials, threw up some ridge lines and some joists, I guess, some rafters, whatever you want to call them. And then I fought and fought and fought the wind and eventually was able to get the tarp on. I did go with shiny side down, although this is not the official last tie off. Again, I really had to fight the wind on this as a part of it, part of my strategy. I'll take you around here back. So the wind kept blowing in this direction. So along the back side, I laid some more ridges, basically matching up, or rafters, basically matching up the rafters in front to kind of pinch the tarp. I just used those 2 4-foot pieces on that last one. But even with a pretty good breeze, it's holding up, I would say, decently. Here's a little view from the inside. So our campsite, this is where our campfire will go. And then this will be the other shelter. It will be tucked in here nice and tight. It will have a little corner over here to kind of block off, and we'll have the same thing over there, that triangle. But we'll do that as the weather cools down. I think when the weather's going to be nice, I think we'll want that airflow. What a day. It was a days of highs and lows, that's for sure. Some frustrating moments, but I just tried to practice taking a breath, taking a beat, calming myself and figuring it out. So we started the day with 1 destroyed shelter, and we ended the day with 1, I would say, darn near complete shelter, and the other one really just needs a tarp on it. I would like to do a little more cinching up, tightening up here and there, but for all intents and purposes, I feel really good where I ended the day. But I think that's where I'm going to leave it for the day. I feel good about what I've accomplished, and I'm pretty tuckered out. As always, I hope this video has been a blessing to you. Thanks for coming along, and we'll see you next time.